You're like, hey, this girl hasn't washed her hair in 3 days. You are absolutely correct. Hello, my name is Lindsay. Welcome back to my channel. Please make yourself comfy for this. I did not put on makeup this morning because I don't have any. Because, well, technically, that's a lie. Because I ran out of foundation, so I'm getting more. It's on the way. Like anybody cares. I just want to get that off my chest in case you're like, is she sick? Is she dying? It's October, which means it is spooky season. So I'm trying to do some like Halloween type themed videos this month. I wanted to make another video in my little series that does not have a name, where I try to summarize musicals that are a bit hard to describe or a bit hard to follow in the most simple terms that I can. What better movie to tackle this month than Rocky Horror Picture Show? You're probably looking at this and wondering, Rocky Horror is very easy to follow. Not for me, because I'm a little dumb, so I don't really get the appeal of it, to be quite honest. I've seen it 3 times. Saw the Fox version once, which we could just like forget about, you know. And then the original movie twice, once before with friends, and then second time around was this so I could write this video. For me, like, it's a very hard plot to follow because it's like, why is all this happening? There's really no reason. Maybe I'm thinking too hard. That's also very possible. Like, I have had to pull out Wikipedia to watch this every single time. So in honor of Halloween, this is my summary of Rocky Horror Picture Show for dum-dums. So at the start of this movie, which you may or may not be watching for the first time, a pair of lips appears on screen and then summarizes the plots of like other pieces of science fiction. You would think like an opening number would like summarize the next like 90 minutes that you're gonna watch. Like, no, not here. So then we cut to Brad and Janet. They are a couple. They're going to a friend's wedding. Cute. We also find out that these friends of theirs that are getting married met in a refresher course, which I thought was like remedial course, you know, for like people who are dumb, but it's actually a refresher course to like brush up on topics that they already know about. So maybe they're probably smarter than the rest of us. Who knows? So the wedding party clears out and Brad is like, you know what? This is the perfect moment. I've been waiting for this like my whole life. I'm going to ask Janet to marry me at someone else's wedding. What? Not cute. They waited for everyone else to leave to either like send off the bride and groom to their honeymoon or like go off to the reception. I don't know. But Brad and Janet stayed behind and then got engaged. They probably skipped out on a reception if there was one to then get engaged. A reception that they were invited to. Rude. So they drive down an old town road. They had a flat tire. Brad is like, darn, I really should have gotten that fixed. All those times that I was being lazy and then didn't do it. But then he's like, you know who could help us? A castle that we passed by in this state of Ohio. They would surely have a phone. This castle in Ohio. Brad tells Janet, wait in the car. Janet's like, not on my watch. I want to go into this castle that happens to be in Ohio. So they pass by a sign that basically says, so there's lots of danger in this castle, like strange danger, don't go in. And then Brad and Janet basically go,
that sign can't stop me because I can't read.
So this butler named Riff Raff opens the door and lets them in so they can like go like, you know, find a phone or something. And Brad and Janet are like, you're so nice. And Riff Raff is like, you know, after they've walked past him, they can't see his face, he goes, and then everyone in this castle in Ohio introduces themselves in what is essentially be our guest, but on ecstasy. So Brad plays along, he's like, they seem like nice people. And Janet's like, I'ma head out. But all of a sudden, Frankenfurter pops up and he's all like, not until I sing my song. Also, you should come visit my lab because I'm a doctor. Wink, wink. And Jetta and Riff Raff are like, well, oh no, to go into this lab where Dr. Frankfurter also has like a lab coat, but whatever. Brad and Janet, you must be stripped down to your tidy whities. Which Brad is like, sure, this is fine, whatever we need to do to get a phone and then get out of here. So Frankenfurter is being extra and invites literally everyone to his lab so that he can show off his brand new toy creature robot, I don't know, named Rocky. Frankenfurter then goes to Janet's like, so what do you think? And Janet's like, you know what? Not for me. Frankenfurter's like, well, I didn't make him for you. Okay, first of all, Frankenfurter, you asked for her opinion, so like, don't get mad. Also, too, you're screaming. But then plot plot twist, this guy named Eddie pops up and he's like, hey, you know what? I was like the apple of Frankfurter's eye. Then he got bored and he made some like chiseled plastic piece of me. Also, I can play the saxophone. And because Frankfurter is petty, he finds an ice pick and murders Eddie as one does. So later that night, Brad and Janet, they're put in separate rooms, and like Brad again doesn't put up a fight because he's the worst. So then Frankfurter sneaks into, wait, what? Then for some reason, Frankfurter disguises himself as Brad, sneaks into Janet's room, and was so convincing to the point where Janet got jiggy with him. Then later, Frankfurter disguises himself as Janet, sneaks into Brad's room, and was so convincing to the point where Brad got down to the sack with him. You don't actually see what these disguises that Frankfurter created look like, but you assume that it's like to a T, incredibly accurate, could be in Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, that kind of accuracy, or is it? Because all Brad and Janet had to do was pull off a wig like they were on Scooby-Doo, and then they went, but how? Oh man! So anyway, Janet sneaks from her room and then finds a television monitor that's like weirdly watching both Janet and Brad's rooms like it's 1984, so that she sees Frank and Brad, you know, doing it, and Janet's like, oh no, this dude I have been engaged to marry, who was super cool with going into the castle and also being stripped down to his underwear and not fighting it, is also in the sack with Frank, this person that we just met. What? What? So she finds Rocky, who's being tortured by Riff Raff, and she's all like, here, I'm gonna make you feel better. So then in the process of like making Rocky feel better, Janet starts to get turned on by this guy who like is very good looking and also doesn't know how to talk, so he can't say dumb things like, they seem like nice people. And then one song later, they're both in the sack with Magenta and Columbia, watching them like they are both Big Brother. But then Riff Raff discovers that Dr. Scott is trying to break into the castle. Brad tells Frank, oh hey, that's my old buddy, Dr. Scott, which makes Frank really suspicious because Dr. Scott is known to look for UFOs. What's the connection between all these things? Like the glasses that belong to a nerd with a lot of asthma? It's very unclear. So the Frankfurter freaks out like, but Brad is like, I promise, I don't know a darn thing about UFOs. I don't know what you would expect of me. You should probably already know I'm kind of an idiot. So Frank captures Dr. Scott, and Dr. Scott is like, have you seen my nephew named Eddie? And Frank's like,
I hate to say it, I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is.
All of a sudden, all four of those people turned around and saw Janet and Rocky both like, you know, doing it. And then this follows.
Fiona!
Mom! Harold!
Donkey!
For like 17 minutes. And my chat is like, you know what would lighten the mood? A perfectly timed meal. Let's all gather around and have a very nice meal like friends. So Rocky and all his castle guests have a dinner, and it's very awkward. They're like, oh, this meat is like so tender. What's your secret? And they were like, the flesh of meatloaf. So Janet freaks out, and then Frank starts to chase Janet, and then everybody else sees what's going on, and they're like, oh, that looks dangerous. Let's get closer. And so then everybody runs into the lab. Once everyone is in the lab, Frank is like,
bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
And turns to Brad, Janet, Columbia, Rocky, and Dr. Scott and freezes all of them into statues. Later, Frankfurter dresses up the statues in like corsets and fishnets and like pretty much anything that would make your conservative aunt cry upon sight. Frank unfreezes them, and then they perform like a cabaret style act for like no one. With Frank as the Beyonce of this like demented Destiny's Child, again performing for no one. But it's cool because like there's like a hidden pool on the stage, so that's pretty darn awesome. And like, why is this happening? I don't really know. I'm kind of dumb. Maybe I missed something. I don't know. Riff Raff and Magenta show up, and they're like, so here's the tea. We're aliens, and so is Frank, and it's time for us to go back to our planet. Frank is like, fine. Then Riff Raff and Magenta go, so this is awkward. When we said it's time for us to go home, you meant like us and not you. So Riff Raff kills Frank because he was busy being all extra and then didn't complete his mission. And then he killed Columbia because she was just there. And then last sentence kind of feels like that OC parody.
Dave will shoot me, then I'll shoot Dave, then Eric will enter and get shot by Dave.
Rocky's sad, of course, and then he like carries Frank up to like the top of that like RKO like radio tower thing. I don't know if it's like to mourn or show off his muscles, not really sure. Then Riff Raff kills Rocky, and then both Rocky and Frank's dead bodies just like flail into the pool. Riff Raff and Magenta go up to Brad and Janet and Dr. Scott, who are all still alive, and they go, they're like, so we're going home for reals. Also, this castle is our spaceship, so get off. Goodbye. So the three of them leave, and they like crawl around on the ground like very disoriented, like your college roommate at their first frat party, while the castle flies into the sky. The end. So that's my summary of Rocky Horror. I just don't really get it. Maybe it's just because that like Brad and Janet, like they try at the beginning to like try to get out, but like they just don't, like they just stop. They just give in. They're like, oh well, you know, just girly things, this happens. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and let me know what's your favorite song from Rocky. Let me know your thoughts on it in general. Are you a Rocky fan? Do you go to the midnight screenings? Or are you like me and you like just don't really get it? Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know what other kind of like, you know, musical that you would want me to like summarize that may be a bit more complicated. Let me know and share with all of your Rocky Horror loving or hating friends. You know, either one. I think both would appeal to this video. Please be sure to subscribe to me and hit the notification bell. I make videos about pop culture news with an emphasis on Broadway every week, so if that's your thing, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm here every Wednesday. You can find me on my social media down below, and I will see you all next time. Bye!